goddess of poetry, let me tell everyone the epic story between the Greeks and the people of Troy.
I'll do better than that. I'll help tell the story myself.
It's a deal. Where shall we start?
Let's start near the end. After 10 bloody years of fighting, the Greeks still hadn't captured the faraway city of Troy. They had been fighting Troy to win back Helen, said to be the most beautiful woman who had been taken away from her Greek husband by a Trojan prince.
The Greeks had lost their best fighters in the battle, including a great warrior named Achilles. After 10 years, they still hadn't gotten much farther. Then where they were first landed on the beach, they were tired, homesick, and ready to give up.
That's right. Only Commander Odysseus, the most clever of the Greeks, wasn't willing to quit. He just kept planning and plotting.
There must be something we haven't tried. We've attacked and attacked, but we've never made headway.
What we need is for someone on the inside to open up the city gates and just let us in. Just imagine that. Walking right into Troy. Now that would be something.
But that's it! We get inside and open the gates.
Are you crazy? Haven't we been trying to do that for 10 years? Nothing worked, remember? Let's go home while we can.
But what if we somehow got a handful of soldiers into the city? Say they were in a box. They could sneak out at night and open the gates and we'd conquer the city in 10 minutes.
Yeah, right, and if I were Athena, I'd fly. How are you going to get a box full of soldiers past the Trojan guards?
I've got an idea. We'll get a huge wooden horse as big as a great statue, but keep it hollow so that 20 soldiers can fit inside. The Trojans won't even know that it's hollow, so they'll never look inside.
And if I suppose you had just happened to have one of those giant horses?
No, but Odysseus, our carpenter, could make one. If he could make a ship, he could certainly make a horse. Athena can inspire him if he needs help.
All right, then what?
We leave this gigantic horse right here on the beach. They think it's an offering we made to the gods. That will make them open up their gates and pull right inside. A little trick will do what 10 years of fighting never could.
But where will our armies be?
We'll pack up our ships and leave. Only we won't really leave. We'll just sail out of sight and wait until the horse gets taken inside Troy. Our soldiers will unlock the gates, give us a signal, and then we'll march right in.
Okay, but the Trojans aren't dumb. After 10 years of fighting us, they aren't going to be mighty suspicious.
Well, that's where you'd come in.
Me?
Weeks later, the Trojans awoke to a very strange sound. Silence.
The Trojan looked out, climbed to their post on top of a walled city to see what was happening in the Greek camp. They were shocked. The Greek soldiers had disappeared. The ground was covered with empty tents, broken weapons, and other gear that the Greeks had left behind. Above all this garbage stood a huge horse.
The horse was wooden and almost as tall as the gates of Troy. It stood proudly and silently, as if it wanted to challenge the Trojans one more time.
When the Trojan people heard that the Greeks had gone, they started celebrating.
The war is over. We won after all these years. 3 cheers for the boys in bronze. Hip hip hooray!
But Troy's king Priam and his fortune teller Laocoon told the people not to celebrate too soon.
Let's make sure this isn't just a trick. Laocoon, you and I and a party of warriors will go down to see the Greeks have really gone.
The Trojan walked down to the shore where the Greeks had made their camp. Everywhere the Trojan found memories of the furious battles that had been fought and the heroes who had taken up arms.
Look, this was the tent that Odysseus stayed in, and over there, that was the Achilles camp.
But what everyone wanted to see was the giant wooden horse.
What could it be? Why would the Greeks build it only to leave it behind?
Whatever it is, I don't like it. I've never trusted the Greeks and I'm not going to. Start now. Let's burn this thing to the ground right now. It'll make a great bonfire.
Following the fortune teller's orders, the soldiers collected wood and piled it under the horse. Laocoon was just about to throw a torch on the pile and start the blaze when a group of Trojan soldiers appeared.
Wait! We've just arrested a prisoner! They brought out Sinon, Odysseus' comrade. His hands were bound in front of him and he was dressed in rags.
Who are you and where are the rest of your men? Tell us now or you feel the wrath of our swords.
Yes, master.
There's no need to threaten me. I'll gladly tell you everything you want to know about my rotten countrymen. I hope I get this right or Odysseus will kill me.
Are you a traitor?
No, I'm a survivor. Thank goodness you found me. The Greek fortune teller told them that they would never win the war because of Athena. The goddess of wisdom was mad at them. The best thing to do, they said, was to make human sacrifice to Athena and then go home. I was the chosen to be the sacrifice, but I escaped.
A likely story. What about this big horse?
It was meant to be a gift for Athena, too.
Then why did they make it so big?
So you wouldn't be able to move into your city? They didn't want you to get the credit and good luck for Athena.
We'll show them. We'll move this horse right into the center of our city, next to Athena's temple.
No, your highness, don't do it. Something smells bad here. I don't trust Greeks, even when they bring gifts. Let's destroy the horse and kill the prisoner.
Just then, a strange and horrible thing happened. Two huge snakes reared out of the open surf and raced toward the men standing on the beach. Before Laocoon could say another word, the serpents wrapped themselves around him. As the other Trojan looked on in horror, the serpents squeezed him to death, then slithered off toward Athens' temple in the city.
Athena must have sent those snakes as a sign. Let's hear no more doubts. Take this horse into the city.
But Priam was wrong. Athena hadn't sent those serpents. Poseidon, the sea god who loved the Greeks, had sent the snakes to help Odysseus' plot.
With great effort, the Trojan dragged the horse into the city. Priam declared a city-wide celebration. He opened the special storehouse that were locked up during the war. All children, young and old, ate and drank their fill for the first time in years.
Inside the horse, Odysseus and the other Greek soldiers heard the Trojans singing and dancing and waited for their chance.
Hours later, as the party was ending, Priam brought Helen to the horse.
Remember that the whole Trojan War had started over Helen, who had been taken away from her home in Greece and kept in Troy. While she was in Troy, she became very friendly with the Trojans. Sometimes it was very difficult to say whose side she was on.
Helen, you're like a daughter to me. You must help me. What do you think of this horse? Do you think it could be some kind of Greek trick?
Priam, if this is a trick, only the mind of Odysseus could have thought of it. Only he would have thought of to say, put people inside.
You think there's soldiers inside?
I have a test that will tell us for sure. I know the Greeks. I'll speak as if I'm their wives. They have hearts, they won't be able to resist saying something back.
Helen circled the big horse 3 times, patting it and calling out in the voices of the wives of Greeks hadn't seen in 10 years. Inside the horse, the soldiers had to bite their hands and stuff their mouths full of cloth to keep from crying out.
This is not a trick, Priam. Go on with the celebrations. Confetti time!
When the city had partied itself to exhaustion and sleep, everything became quiet. Then there was the sound of trapdoor being opened and scuffling of feet. In a moment, the Greek warriors stood inside the city.
For you, go and unlock the gates. The rest of you find where the Trojans keep their weapons. Set as many fires as you can. Flames will signal our ships and it's time to return.
The Greeks carried out their chores in deadly silence. By the time the Trojans awoke to the smell of smoke, it was already too late.
The city is in chaos. The Greeks might be in cause of this.
Right you are.
Greek soldiers held the groggy Trojans at the bay until gates burst open and what seemed like a flood of Greeks charged into Priam city.
What followed was not pretty, but then war is always ugly. Many people, children, women, and men alike, died at the hands of the victorious Greeks. Those who survived were forced into slavery. The great city of Troy, which had stood for so many years, was completely burned to the ground.
But there's one bright spot in all this horror. One Trojan soldier named Aeneas managed to survive the destruction, along with his family. It was he who sailed away, and legend has it, started a new city in a distant land of Italy. The land would one day be called Rome. As for Helen, she returned to Greece where she was reunited with her husband.